Good evening. The fortress of Frigidhill has just retaken the surface from the undead hordes of the terrifying Tundra. With the help of our newly joined militia dwarves, we've finally managed to make the surface somewhat safe for our citizens. Our ever-growing corpse pile still twitches malevolently at us now and again, but any reanimating body parts are easily crushed by our soldiers and our more daring civilians. Tonight, the dwarves of Frigidhill attempt to fully fortify the surface by building a wall and a garrison around our entrance. By building some proper defensive structures, we will do what none thought possible. We will tame the Tundra. Our above-ground fortress will be built from the most abundant resource around, clay. The entire surface of the Tundra is covered in this stuff, blood red and ripe for the taking. We'll fire up some kilns, bake some bricks, and start laying down our defenses. Our future looks bright, and the people of the folded continents are taking notice. We've gotten a few visitors recently. A duo of human performers has asked to stay here long-term to entertain people in our tavern. Come right on in. The dwarves of Frigidhill are always happy to have more humans around. A goblin mercenary even showed up to take a look at the place. All are welcome in Frigidhill. Hang on a second. One of our artifacts is missing. Maybe having all these visitors coming and going brings its own difficulties. Well, we haven't had a dwarven justice system so far, but it looks like we'll need to form one if we're going to try and track down that artifact. Someone will have to serve as sheriff. This dwarf looks as good as any other. Takud Lolcloister. She's a skilled judge of intent. That should help us hunt down the culprit. That goblin merc is nowhere to be seen, but we can't go jumping to conclusions. That'd just be shoddy detective work. For now, we'll let the sheriff follow up on leads, see if any witnesses come to light. In the meantime, Autumn of 566 arrives, and the dwarven caravan tries to come trade with us. But it looks like an undead porcupine woman reached them first, slugged one of the merchants, and scared them off. However, in their haste to escape, they left behind a few bins packed full of supplies. How considerate of them. Our people, of course, aren't afraid of a few undead monsters, and we easily dispatch them so the civilians can get to the goods. Ooh, maybe we should have been more careful. One of those human adventurers that accompanied our dwarves to Frigidhill just got into a losing fight with an undead giant snowy owl. Kesp, the human hunter, has been found dead. Nasty business, that, but that's life out in the reanimating wilds. Her body has raised from the dead, but yeah, she goes down again. Our soldiers are a step above your average zombies. And so the months pass. The undead invade from the surrounding tundra, but are all cut down by the galleys of combat. We lose a few civilians to random attacks from zombies on the surface, but their numbers are quickly replaced by incoming migrants. More strange faces show themselves in our tavern, the Helmed Bellies. Goblin bards and intelligent undead elves mingle among our citizens, but they're all quite well behaved. And all the while, our earthenware brick walls slowly build up around our entrance. It has been nearly half a year, and Frigidhill has progressed a great deal in that time. A wall of earthenware bricks, only 1 Z-level tall so far, encircles the fortress. It's a modest defensive structure, but against mindless undead, it should get the job done. We are trying to get a second level onto it, maybe some fortifications. Unfortunately, our accomplishments have not come without cost. Working on the surface has not been entirely safe, and we've lost several dwarves over the months. We've had to set up a number of memorials for our fallen workers, which we've begun to display on the paved road that leads into Frigidhill. It's kind of a grim walk into the fort, but hey, when in Rome. But we do need to do something to get a handle on the zombie situation. As it stands, our dwarves have been doing a good job of beating back the Horde, but they just keep coming back. We need a way to make sure our dead stay dead. If we can get rid of this corpse heap, our wall should be enough to keep the fort fairly safe. To that end, the dwarves have begun digging a deep hole on the surface. A really deep hole. It drops straight down, as far as down goes. It's about 120 Z-levels deep, and ends in an opening to the magma sea. This geothermal incinerator will allow us to quickly and permanently dispose of any and all unwanted trash in or around the fort. Toss in any corpses you find, and you'll never see them again. Just be careful around the top of the hole. It's a long way down. But there are still a few obstacles at the bottom of the pit we'll need to clear before we can begin sending down sacrifices to the earth. And we may have some more fodder to send hellward very soon, because several undead giant muskox are approaching the entrance to the fort. A bunch of civilians have been caught out, and they're being trampled by the monsters. This looks bad. The galleys of combat are taking too long to get here. Many lives were lost that day, including some of the fort's soldiers. The galleys numbered only 3 by the time the creatures were struck down, and the fortress was left with only 43 citizens. With Frigidhill's numbers waning, it became imperative to get the Incinerator completed as quickly as possible. We will need to briefly breach one of the sealed caverns in order to complete the tunnel, but hopefully we'll be able to get that closed up real quickly afterwards. But lurking within the sealed cavern is an army the likes of which this fortress has never yet faced. For years, the cavern wildlife has been succumbing to undeath, like all things that perish in this foul place. In cursed places such as this, death begets death, and before too long, the cave was full of zombies beyond count. As our miner breaches the wall of the cavern, zombies pour out, clawing and biting at the fresh meat that has entered their domain. The Horde is awesome. Crundles, troglodytes, rutherers, all manner of undead cave beasts crawl towards the new opening. This is nothing short of utter disaster. Dozens of workers who were working on the tunnels are slaughtered instantly. The galleys of combat charge in, hoping to stem the tide of undead, but their numbers are truly overwhelming. The galleys fight a grueling battle, dropping one by one. The cost in lives has already been enormous. We're down to 20 dwarves. Yet one fighter still rages on. Rakust, dwarven spearmaster wasting stalker, continues, beyond all hope, to fight back the Horde. Rakust's undeath began Enchanted Fins, that great citadel of war and sorcery. He fights with all the strength of Tig the Lustful, and one by one returns these foul things to the land of the dead. He's only protected by the copper of Frigidhill's humble armory, but it's enough. After days of fighting, the bulk of the undead from the cave have been slain. Rot fills the cavern air as Rakust Storlutiden Soloston, dwarven spearmaster wasting stalker, stands victorious. When all is said and done, Rakust's kills number over 500. Of course, it's a hollow victory. Frigidhill is finished. The population has been decimated, and it won't be long before the undead from the Tundra move in and kill off anyone left. All the survivors with any sense flee while they can, into the wastes. Perhaps some of them will even live long enough to escape these cursed lands. As the last of the doomed inhabitants of Frigidhill are overrun by the undead, someone watches quietly, half a world away. The will of Tig the Lustful is truly remarkable. Just as the Mage Queen had created a citadel of death in Tig's honor down in the scorching Southlands, the fools of Frigidhill had inadvertently created a vast tomb in Tig's honor, deep in the freezing north. All it took to spread Tig's divine carnage to the most distant corners of the world was a few well-placed soldiers. Wasting stalkers make for such loyal pawns. And so Frigidhill would forever stand, filled with the frozen corpses of its misguided creators, the Tundra forever untamed. In this world, none can truly defy death. Some seek to control its power, while others try to run from the inevitable. But all roads come to an end eventually. No one can escape Tig's grim reign over this cursed world. And so the story of the folded continents comes to its close at this late hour. I'm afraid I must retire now, but do find me again to hear more tales of strange realms and far-off places.